Did you guys know that in Hawaii you need a permit to laugh loudly? Yeah, for the normal person, you're only allowed a little aloha. What's going on, YouTube? We are inside the Infinite Archive, inside of Apocrypha, outside the plane of existence to go over our first of two Tuesday vendors. And as a reminder, these bad boys reset early Tuesday morning, so you have them for a whole week from when you watch this video. But let's jump into our Tuesday vendor. And to start off, we have the Ingenious Inlays, which comes from one of the most popular mythics in the game, and that is the Oakensoul ring. And if you search it up, you'll find that people are talking about it taking 10 to 15 runs to get it. Well, if you would like to actually get this ring a little bit faster, you can purchase it, obviously, but normally what you need to do is complete volcanic vents, and this guy says that he's done 50 and has no lead. When it comes to should you buy a lead, I think it's important to talk about a couple of things. One is, do you want this mythic? That's important, because if you were getting a mythic that you never planned to use, for example, do you want to be a werewolf? Maybe get the werewolf mythic. If you're never going to be a werewolf in your whole life, maybe you don't need the furboy mythic setup. But if you plan to use the Oakensoul ring, you have to ask yourself, do you want to gamble doing 10 to 15 vents, which seems to be the average, be this guy that has almost 50 done and not have one? Or do you just want to say, screw it, I'll just spend 5,000 archival fortunes? The time it's going to take you to do 10 to 15 vents is probably fairly comparable to farming the High Isle Overland, and the unfortunate reality of farming the High Isle Overland is that you're probably not going to get a whole lot of things that are very good. You may, for example, get some of the sets there, and you can deconstruct those to get the style materials that drop from there. You get some materials back for you, but overall, you're not going to get a whole lot of anything that's worth anything. But if you farm the Infinite Archive, you could get some rare fragments, you get some cool pieces, get some sets. So from there, I could say that I would consider, if I did not have this lead already, maybe buying this, because I would prefer to farm the Infinite Archive over Overland Vents. But it's just going to come down to your flavor and how you think to yourself in your own brainal compartment. And next, we talk about another mythic that could be a pretty good one with a bit of an annoying twist to get. And we have the Warm Asymmetrical Ruby, which I did not mispronounce correctly. This is like the 15th take of me trying to say this out loud. And to get this, it normally gives you the Death Dealer's Feat, which is one of my favorite mythics. We'll talk about that in a moment. And you have to get the Oblivion Portal chest at the final boss of the Oblivion Portals. Important to note that you need to make sure that you're going into the right Oblivion Portals, because there are two of them. This is the one through Blackwood, so just keep that in mind. Don't be that silly goose that gets them flipped around. And the Death Dealer's Feat, the longer you're in combat, essentially you gain higher max magicka, stamina, and health, and this is just overall really helpful because, you need to be able to dodge roll, you need to be able to block, that's your stamina. Magicka, if you want to cast spells and things, that can be pretty helpful, and if you want to not die, health is pretty good too. So you can see why these stats are important, and the longer you're in combat, the higher these go, and for PvP, this is a really fun mythic to use. I don't think it's the best in slot. I believe I put this in A tier previously when I did my mythics breakdown. I would probably put it somewhere comparable back in the A tier. It's good. There's probably better mythics for you. Like, for example, I think the Harpooner's Kilt is definitely better for PvE. For PvP, you've got the Sea Serpent's Chain. So I don't see this being, the best of the best. Go out, get this bad boy immediately. But this is still a good mythic. Next up, you can spend your archival fortunes to actually get a shoulder or helmet. This week, we have the bound style page, Grundwolf Shoulder. So obviously, this is bound, so if you wanted to own it, the value is you using it for yourself and not having to purchase it with gold or wait to farm it in the future. And normally, this thing ranges for a few 100,000 gold. So this is definitely not something that I would use to convert my archival fortunes into, because I don't think that there's a lot of value. Your archival fortunes, I think, are worth more of your time. Let's take, for example, if you were interested in saving, 3 hours, getting this lead with your 5,000 archival fortunes, you would have to save 9 hours potentially for this to be worth it. And if you grinded gold for 9 straight hours, you 100, totally 1,000% would be able to make more than enough to get a shoulder that's worth a few 100,000 gold, even in this economy. Next up, we have Glenumbra treasure maps, and a rule of thumb you ever see a treasure map and you think to yourself, is it worth it? Generally, if it's not from one of the islands that are starter zones like Stros Mackay and it's not a DLC zone, probably not worth it. Glenumbra treasure maps, not worth it. Companion gear weapons. Again, untradeable, so the value that you get from here is the value of you using it. So, companion gear weapons is the biggest gamble out of all of them. Some of the most valuable pieces are companion weapons, but also if you get the right weapon with the wrong trait, it's essentially worthless. So you have to gauge all of those factors when you're making a decision. And to me, I would skip the weapons. I would not gamble on those, but it's up to you. It's only 5,000 archival fortunes. And even if you factor in that that's potentially saving around 2 to 3 hours of your time, 2 to 3 hours worth of gold is not going to equal all of the companion weapons that you could, in theory, get, but this is a big gamble. And please never buy a fragment for a Tales of Tribute deck, ever. Also, please don't buy these books either. There are so many books that you can get. It's not worth it. Next up, I'm at a bit of a conundrum, because obviously we'll talk about the second vendor here in a bit, but I actually really love flame damage, and I think that for this upcoming Mid-Year Mayhem, this could be great for you to own. But is it worth 15,000 archival fortunes? The problem is, so many of you have been getting scripts left and right. You know, you go out, you get these things randomly. You know, oh, you complete the Flona McFlulu thing, and then bada bing, bada boom, you've got flame damage. So, is it worth continuing to farm those quests, the guild quests, to try to get ones that you don't have? Obviously, there's going to be some of you that say, Jake, I don't care about Mid-Year Mayhem. There's a portion of those people. There's a portion of people that care, that already have this. There's a portion of people that are, you know, going to participate in Mid-Year Mayhem but don't need this. And then there's that final portion of people that would benefit from this and want to use it in the event that starts Thursday. I'm really speaking to that fourth group of people. This might be okay to purchase. I just hate the idea of you wasting essentially a time saver of 9 hours, because I look at every 5,000 archival fortunes as a potential 2 to 3 hour saver on flame damage, because I know that you're going to get it in the future. At some point, you will own this script just by playing the game. And I know this is a big, long explanation, but this is the process that I want you guys to think to yourselves as you're thinking, do I want to buy this? Because this is a great script. It's going to be great in the future, too, when more things are released. So, it's a tough thing. I will say that you probably can skip Savagery and Prophecy and Thief Swiftness. Yes, they're fine. They're decent. But they're not essential for Mid-Year Mayhem coming up. And we finish off on 2 more fragments. The Cartographer's Boots, which, again, we have a whole video breaking down fragments. Reference that video. Don't ever buy these. This thing probably is retailing for like 10 to 20,000 gold. Please don't buy it with your archival fortunes. Erroneous maps. This is a bit interesting. I think as they add more daily quests too, these are going to be easier to get normally without buying them. Getting a maze body mark is probably not worth 7,000 archival fortunes, even if you have 19 of them already. Unless you really, really want yourself to look like a black maze all over yourself. But there's so many cool skins and things and body markings already that aren't also costing you your most premium currency. Because let's be realistic. Archival fortunes are some of the most top tier premier currencies. To spend it on something this goofy is just goofy. And while goofy can usually be cool, like wearing jorts into a Chili's with a mullet, with pit vipers, this is not the good kind of goofy. This is goofy where people go, what? And now at our second vendor of the day, inside the Scolarium, inside of Ivea. Somebody will pronounce me that correctly in the comments. If you have the Indrake unlocked, you're able to buy some of his items here. What's going to reset is these scripts such as Defile, Protection, Multi-Target, and Crusaders Defiance. I generally have just been buying pretty much all of these, but I don't think any of these are necessarily 100% essential for coming up for this Thursday. I do really like Defile, and I think Protection also is pretty flavorful, but I don't necessarily think that you have to do them. I am going to buy them just because 40,000 gold is essentially nothing. Multi-target I'm going to get to, even though that's probably even less useful. But I've had terrible luck with getting the scripts that I want, so I've just been buying them as I go, just so that way I don't have any regret if I ever look in the future and think, oh man, I really wish I had protection, and then it's not going to be there. And then when I want something, it's not going to show up ever, because that's how curated drops work, is that if you want it, you don't get it until you have given up all hope, and then it will appear to you. It's kind of like the Philosopher's Stone. But everyone, this has been the Tuesday vendors inside the Elder Scrolls Online. Again, you have until next Tuesday to get these items. There's still a strong percent of you that think that if I'm not playing on a Tuesday, that I can never get these items again. You have a full week, I promise you. And again, if you guys have questions, comments, put them below, as I will make sure to answer as many as I can. As always, we're doing our 3 giveaway drawings. All you have to do to enter is leave a comment in the comments below. Tell me what items you would like to see in the Tuesday vendor. I would like to see the remaining pieces of Mora's Whisper. If I just keep putting that into the air, eventually it will happen. Second thing is just be subscribed on YouTube, and if you want 2 additional entries into the second drawing, also follow on Twitch and or Twitter. And the third thing is a hidden word be flashed upon the screen throughout one of the videos this month. So if you're the first person to notice and comment that word, you will win. Also, I will be streaming on Thursday from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then I will be streaming again on Sunday. I don't have a time frame yet. I might just keep it 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just that way it's the same. And then again on Monday of next week, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sunday's the only one that might change, just that way I could get a few more of you guys that don't play in that Eastern Standard Time zone block. We're going to be doing another fun challenge video, which we haven't done for a minute, so I'll catch you guys there. Thank you guys again. Happy Tuesday, and I'll catch you later. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jakeclips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.